Welcome to the Opinionation Podcast, where free speech, opinions, and original thought still matter in America.
Thank you for listening to the Opinionation Podcast. I am your host, King Daddy. We can be found on email at opinionation84@gmail.com. We are also on Instagram and Twitter at opinionation84. So any of those places will take you to us. You can hear about our upcoming episodes, listen to some of the bullshit that comes out of my mouth, look at some of my crazy pictures, do whatever, but that's where we are. But today I want to take a little bit of a somber look at a serious subject, or at least it is to me. And that is not being able to be who you used to be, especially if you like who you used to be. What really got to me today, I was reading my Twitter feed, and I happened to notice where several accounts have come up where Ashley Massario from the World Wrestling Federation / Entertainment, whatever the hell they call themselves now, who died last week, said that she committed suicide by hanging herself. Now that is kind of ironic that I saw that, considering that I was just watching an older episode of Joe Rogan Experience. Love the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, by the way. Listen to it whenever I get a chance. He has some great guests. Does a good job. But he had Bobcat Goldthwait. Now, I don't know if any of you remember Bobcat Goldthwait from the 80s. And I might not even be saying his name right. Goldthwait. I think that's what he was called, Bobcat Goldthwait. Anyway, he was really good friends with Robin Williams, and as we know, Robin Williams also committed suicide. Now, it was kind of odd hearing both of those suicides were for the exact same reason, or not done for the same reason, but done by the same method of hanging yourself. That seems to be a very popular one amongst the suiciders. Very sad. Don't understand why you would choose to do that. Sounds painful, even if it's only for a brief second. But what really got me going when I was hearing those things, especially with Ashley, was I can remember years ago when I used to watch that particular wrestling company's product, and she won the Diva Search. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 2005. She won the Diva Search, went on to have, a short career in wrestling, doing some tag team things with Trish Stratus and a couple of other ladies there. But I remember her always being a very energetic, pretty, happy-seeming, fun girl. So when you hear about somebody that is your only visual that you ever see of them, and then you hear that they committed suicide, kind of takes you back a little bit, because you, as a viewer, don't necessarily get the opportunity to see what's really going on with a performer who is playing a character that is not herself. So very sad. But what got me thinking about this is how I can understand it being very difficult for her or anyone else in that similar situation to be approaching their 40th birthday, looking back to a time in life, to something that she used to be, wanting to have the goals to get there again and it not coming together for you. And a lot of times those things supersede and take control of your mind, where the logical things that make sense, that should be making you happy in the moment, such as her 18-year-old daughter and other things that I'm sure she had going for her in life, take precedence over the good things, and all you can focus on is where you were. Got to be hard. I know from experience, and I have been working on this book that I have an idea for probably now for a little over a year. Still haven't gotten quite as far as I would like to get, but it's called Mortality for Breakfast. And the reason why I have come up with that idea is because ever since my cardiac arrest and the 7 minutes of death, the heart surgery, and all the underlying medical issues that have popped up on me in the year and a half since, I wake up every single morning and the very first thought in my mind is my mortality. You know, it's very difficult for a person to tell themselves every single morning, is today going to be the day? Am I going to make it today? And not let that mindset and those thoughts overtake the goodness that you know for a fact the day is going to hold in store for you if you let it. So it's very difficult, has been more difficult at times than it is now, to wake up afraid. I wake up every day afraid that I'm going to die. I wake up every single day afraid that somebody is going to notice that I can't get around as well as I used to anymore. I'm afraid that somebody's going to notice that I'm slow. I'm afraid all the time that somebody's going to notice that I have trouble remembering things. And I have that fear every day. And I wake up and I have to psych myself out to get beyond that so that I can go out and have a productive day and do what I can do. Do I have trouble getting around? Yes. Do I have forgetfulness? Yes. Is my ejection fraction of my heart only beating at 25%, which impairs me from being able to do everything physically that I would like to do? Yes. But do I want to make that my every single waking thought? Absolutely not. But there are some people who go through things and have such a remarkable lifestyle that when that gets taken away, for whatever the reason, it is very difficult to pull yourself together on a day-to-day basis and make life work. You know, I struggle through most parts of the day. I can't sit too long because my ass gets numb. I can't stand too long because my feet get numb. I can't walk too far because I get wobbly. Or even sometimes can't walk that far because I get a little dizzy-headed and wobbly at the same time. So I have limitations that I have to live with, but I do not have to let those limitations thwart who I am and what I do. But I find it easy to understand how somebody who has spent time in that kind of limelight, doing something in front of a crowd with that many people cheering for you and calling your name, and all of a sudden you're not able to do it anymore. I can understand, because I know, not to that degree, but I know how it feels to go to work every day and be the best at my job. I know how it feels to walk out in the yard and jump on the motorcycle and ride down to the bar to work and be able to defend the bar as a bouncer and take care of business and do what I have to do, and then to wake up every single morning realizing that that will never be me again. If I were to go defend the bar or do the things that I used to do, then I'd get my ass beat. If I were to even attempt to ride a motorcycle, being that I can barely feel my feet half the time and that I'm wobbly and have absolutely no balance, I would fall over in the gravel before I got to the end of my driveway. I know these things, but that still does not mean that I don't remember how those things feel and how it feels every single day waking up knowing that I've had those things taken away from me and it not be my choice. But on a positive note, here's what I do have. I have a home. Right now, I am sitting in an air-conditioned room talking on my really nice studio equipment with a roof over my head, a woman who unconditionally loves me and took care of me when I was at my sickest without blinking an eye. I have 3 grown boys and 2 magnificent grandchildren. And most importantly, not going to leave them out, 4 of the sweetest dogs, most loving, sweet babies that you will ever see. I can't ride the motorcycle. I can't fight at the bar. Hell, I can't even smoke cigars and drink alcohol anymore. They took that shit away from me too. But I have so much. And I wish the people that got pulled away from things that they identified themselves with could find other things that mattered more, because your identity is not wrapped up in those things. My identity is not wrapped up in bar fights, motorcycles, tequila shots, cigars, walking properly, or having a perfectly beating heart. My identity is in the people who love me and the people who I love. My identity is in my home. My identity is in my family. But some people can't break away from the identity of who they think they are, even if who you think you are was actually just a character that you played. You know, I wasn't a bouncer. I was a man who had a bouncing job. I wasn't a biker. I was a man who liked to ride motorcycles. A man who liked to smoke an occasional cigar and have an occasional tequila shot. But I was not a smoker, a drinker, a biker, and a bouncer. I was just a man, and those were just things that I did. Ashley was not a wrestler. Wrestling was what she did. She was a mother, she was a daughter, and she was somebody's love. There were people that loved her, people that she loved. Everybody out there who is going through what I call the mortality for breakfast mindset, you are not those things that you miss. You are still you. You just have to find another way to present yourself. You know, one of my favorite people to not only watch in the wrestling ring, but to listen to in an interview is Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, I would make this man my life coach. You want to talk about reinventing yourself when you need to reinvent yourself the most. He is a master at explaining how to do this. I consider myself fairly a master at reinventing myself as well, considering that I have gone from literally laying in a hospital bed with tubes down my throat to sitting here on this microphone talking to you today. I'm never down, even when I'm down. But here's Chris Jericho. He leaves a large wrestling organization, you know, the one ran by Vince McMahon. I hate that one. He leaves. He goes to Japan. He reinvents himself. Comes up with some new moves. Alters his character a little. All of a sudden, he's back in the United States. And now, if I remember correctly, he has vowed to never wrestle in the United States again. But he gets this opportunity from Tony Khan. Most of you may know him as the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he owns also, I think, a Major League Soccer team in Europe somewhere. But Tony Khan, along with Dusty Rhodes' son Cody, a tag team called the Young Bucks. I'm not sure exactly what everybody's role is in this company, but Jim Ross is in there doing something. Kenny Omega from New Japan. And now all of a sudden, a 48-year-old Chris Jericho, who not only still has great skill in the ring, he has some of the greatest microphone promo skills that I've ever heard. He's great. Love Chris Jericho. He just signed a 3-year contract with All Elite Wrestling and is reinventing himself again at 48 years old. And he may be 49 by the time this goes out, because I'm not sure exactly when his birthday is. But holy shit, how many times can you reinvent yourself? Let me give you the answer to that fucking question. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you deem absolutely necessary to do it, because what ends for you today does not have to be the end of you. Let me repeat that. What ends for you does not have to be the end of you. You can do it. You can reinvent yourself. You can become whatever you want to become. You can go to college and get a degree in something when you're 60 or 70 years old, if that's what you choose to be. Because let me tell you, it is your life. Nobody else dictates the direction or the path of your life. You may wake up every single morning with mortality for breakfast, but I'll be goddamn if somebody's going to take my mortality away. It is mine. I will do with it what I choose to do with it. I have ideas. I have plans. I have a direction that I want to go, and there is nothing. I will wobble and crawl my way to where I want to go if that's how I have to get there, because nobody, no thing is going to stop me from doing what I set my mind to do. I will have to literally have 1 foot in a grave, or in my case, 1 foot in the crematorium, before anybody or anything will be able to take anything away from me. Ashley, I hate that something made you feel like you couldn't go on anymore. And if there's anybody else out there right now who feels like you can't go on anymore, yes, the fuck you can. Wake up. Reinvent yourself. Come up with a game plan today, and if it don't work, wake up in the morning and make up a new one. Dream big. It don't matter how big it is. And bite the shit out of it until you've eaten it all. Just keep taking bites. Never quit taking bites of your dream. You know, I dreamed for a long time of a little beautiful girl that I love so much. I never thought that dream would be possible. I made every mistake on the planet to hurt myself to keep that dream from ever being possible. But guess what? I woke up next to her this morning. I have the words "living the dream" tattooed on my arm. It's that important. It should be that important to you. Don't give up. Find your way. Don't let anybody tell you you can't or take it away. This is King Daddy for the Opinionation Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Opinionation84. Opinionation84@gmail.com is our email address. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.